Good evening, everybody. Monday Morning Quarterback, episode 114. Glad you all could join us tonight. Hope you had a good start to your week and hope you got to do some racing last weekend. Tonight we're going to talk about our new shock that we've been working on. We're probably 18 months in the making and design development and now ready for sale. We had the shock at PRI last year was kind of where we gave the first sneak peek. But anyhow, we're going to talk about that, answer all of your questions. So if you have questions throughout about the shock or about anything with your race program that we can be of assistance, let us know. Good evening, Rick. Thanks for tuning in. Last week we were at the Short Track Nationals in Little Rock, Arkansas with our shock trailer helping some customers and had the new XT on a few cars. And results were really, really good. Mark Smith ran second the first night, and Dale Howard looked really good, was top point guy after the heats and was running third in the feature and got tangled up. But we had two cars in the top five on XTs early in that race before some stuff happened. Like I say, Mark ended up second. Second night was a bit of a mess with track taking rubber, not a lot of passing. But we learned a lot. We made some good contacts, and I feel like we were able to help some customers that were CSI and non-CSI. Nothing on the agenda for me this week. I'm heading to California tomorrow for a few days to close out a business deal we've been working on, and then I believe T-Bone's going to go to is it a Power Eye or a USAC midget race at Hauptstadt this weekend. So he'll be there for that. And then next week, I think is the final race at Mini Indy for the Halloween Havoc. And looking at trying to fit a couple other races into our schedule here to end the year around some things we have, potentially going to Millbridge for their big micro race in November. So yeah, got a lot of stuff going on here and trying to keep active and at the track and helping customers and developing some of these other new things we're working on in addition to the shock. And so yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys at a track soon, hopefully this year. Keeping our fingers crossed that Shootout and Chili Bowl are going to happen. I'm hearing good things about that. Also starting to hear some good things about the Las Vegas Quarter Midget Race, which is an event we go to every year. And yeah, it's cold here now, so I feel like winter's coming. So I have this sense of urgency that, man, we've got to get some more races in. But yet I just looked at the weather where I'm going in California tomorrow, and it's 100. So hope where you're at, it's a little warmer than it is here. It was pretty cold this weekend. So without further ado, I'm going to jump in and start talking about this shock. And again, if you have a question, please ask it, whether it pertains to the shock or not. That's what we're here for, is to answer all of the questions we can and try to give you guys as much value and insight as we can through our years of experience. So this baby right here is the XT, and we've been, as I said, about 18 months in design and development. Designed everything in-house on that shock from the ground up. Everything's manufactured here locally in Indiana and with machining partners that we've used for a lot of our other components. And a couple new machine shops since we had a few unique features on this shock. But when we launched it at PRI, there was some interest in it. Initially, it was just going to be a four-way adjustable. And that's how all the prototypes were. That's how most of the testing was. And then as we kind of got further in, we thought, a lot of people are intimidated or scared by the four-way adjustability. So it won't take much to make it where it could be a two-way adjustable as well. So eventually this will replace our X2. And then we have a 2, 3, and 4-way adjustable version of this shock that we're taking orders on now. Currently, we're building about 2 weeks out on this shock. Right now, there's only a couple of us here that are building it. And so it's probably a week and a half to 2 weeks to fulfill an order for this. But we are taking orders on those shocks now. So throughout testing, just to give you a little insight on how the process worked. We wanted to get it on as many different kind of cars as we could. So the first time we had it on cars was at the shootout, and had a lot of speed. Corey Day ran it on the driven house car in Outlaw, and I felt like he was in a good position to potentially win that race, the A-Main, and then got taken out. We were super pumped that Axum won, who had our shocks on as well. And then from there, we ran the shock at Chili Bowl with Sunshine. He put it in the A-Main, ran really well in the Race of Champions. We went to Florida with the shock, and that's when we got on a wing sprint car for the first time. And Mark Smith has done a good bit of the development for us on this shock. He put it on and hasn't really taken it off other than the one time he wrecked, and we had to fix it. But I believe he's won 17 or 18 features with the shock. Sunshine had a couple podiums in Florida with it there on the midget. And then we were kind of low on parts with it, so we got one to Chance Crum to use out west. And the biggest challenge with this, we were trying to spread it around and get as much feedback with different teams that we work closely with, different drivers and different driving styles, different cars, but we had limited parts on this production run because there was a couple parts that we didn't like when they came. There was some stuff that got tore up in crashes, and so we kept getting more and more limited. And most of the nights when we would give it to somebody to run, they fell in love with it and they didn't want to give it back. So that was a challenge we played all year, trying to spread it around. But Chance had great success with it. He won the Clay Cup Nationals out in Washington, which is probably the biggest micro race on the West Coast. So I've had a lot of success with it, and I felt really, really good about it. And that's when we pushed forward to, after our final design changes, make the first production run of them, which is what we have now. So I'm going to show you a kind of what we mean by high-speed adjustable. So this is a true graph I pulled up of some shocks that we built to go to Little Rock. And so you can see that I'm just showing you the compression, but it does have rebound, low speed, and high speed adjustability as well. But you can see at the low speed, the shock's identical, doesn't even change. And then the way we're set on this particular one, between 3 and 3.5 inches per second, we're seeing high speed adjustability there. So the nice thing about this is we can get the low speed and the 3-inch number where we want it to make grip, and then we can tune the high speed in to get the stability we need, whether it be a rough track, a heavy cushion, or something like that. So when we've been building these for customers, we're giving you 3 high-speed settings for compression and rebound if you go with the 4-way adjustable. And like the purple line here, that would be your average track. And then if you got to a rough track, you would adjust the high speed to this green setting, and then a smooth track, you'd be on the red. And that is just the high speed adjustment. So once you have the high speed set, you get a wide range of low speed adjustment. So I think the stuff that we were building for Little Rock, we were like about 100 pounds was what we were shooting for of compression adjustability. And we had even a little more than that in rebound. So really nice, clean adjustment range. Right now it's just available in a smooth body, but we do have threaded bodies in the works. And there's enough room there to get a coil kit and a spring on there. So we made it where we had enough clearance here to get a 2 1/4 inch spring for pavement guys. I don't really anticipate a lot of people running it on front shocks. It's more of a rear shock, specifically a right rear shock. We do have some customers that want to run it on the left rear, but this thing is really, really good on the right rear. Make tons of grip, a lot of stability. I feel like the sweet spot of the shock is bigger than some of the other shocks we've designed, which has increased driver feel and comfort. We've gotten very, very similar feedback as far as that's concerned from about 6 or 7 different drivers that have used it. Another nice thing with it is repair costs are a lot less. So all of our adjustment is done here. We got our low speed adjusters and then our high speed adjusters. So the shaft is a solid non-adjustable shaft. So you're looking at a $30 shaft versus a $100 gas shaft, a $30 rod end versus a $100 rod end. So as far as bent shafts and repairs, the repair costs are going to be substantially less with this shock. The only time it would get expensive is if you crash really hard and bent the whole body cap, because this top piece is an expensive piece. But it's a twin tube shock. You wouldn't know that typically by looking at it because there is a Schrader valve. However, it is a twin tube design, but rather than a gas bag that can rupture or burst at extremely high velocities or displacements, we have a gas chamber. So we can tune that a little bit. It isn't nearly powerful like it is in a typical monotube shock, but it does do a little bit, and it keeps the shock from cavitating, and it got us away from the gas bag, which is one of the big downfalls on a twin tube shock is the gas bag there. So that is kind of everything in a nutshell there on the XT. We have it in 6, 7, 8, and 9 inch. So it's buildable everything from a micro up to a sprint car. Another nice thing with this shock is, since we were able to condense everything in here, we don't have as tall of a body cap as our gas shock. So it's more in line with the length of a twin tube. And that has been beneficial for our wing guys, because now we have more room for bump rubbers, which has been a challenge as guys have went to gas shocks. We've had to run short body, long shaft combos to get the bump rubber height you want. So that will cure that. So whatever length shock you run in a twin tube, that's what you're going to want to order in this. We can help you sort that out if you're not too sure what length shaft to get. But again, we're taking orders on these. Right now we're building a week and a half to 2 weeks out. And if you want to get one on a car to try before the season's out, we would love to help you with that. As with any of our shocks, we've really spent a lot of time, myself and Brett, our engineer, to come up with instructions that are super easy to follow, easy to read, tuning guides that are extremely easy to read. You'll get basically 3 tuning guides, one for smooth track, one for really rough, and one for average, and all your numbers with that. So as I was explaining to a customer this weekend, these low speed adjusters, that's your normal adjustment you have on any shock. And so you're going to be adjusting these throughout the night, every night. Your high speed, you might not adjust that for 2 or 3 nights. Then you might get to a situation where the track is really rough, and we want to make an adjustment there. Super easy to do. We loosen these set screws, and then the shock comes with a wrench, and we adjust the high speed with a wrench, and it's very small adjustments. We count the flats, so you might adjust it 2 flats, tighten the set screw back up. You can make a high-speed adjustment in 15 seconds. And the way we give you the information, you don't need to have a shock dyno or anything like that, because we're going to give you those 3 high-speed settings and all the data for them. And it's really easy to follow. If you ever got lost, you can just screw that high-speed in till it stops and count the flats back out to your average, smooth, or rough track settings. So super simple. We wanted to make it user-friendly, but we really wanted to make sure that it was easy for the customer to use, because if you kind of got confused and you were setting things in the wrong direction, it wasn't going to be any benefit to you or to us, because the shock isn't going to perform as it should. So Colin, yeah, so the price, this is only $50 more than our standard double. So our standard double, the X2, is $799. This is $849. So it's just $50 more, and then it's $50 for every adjustment. So $899 for a 3-way, $949 for a 4-way. And that's our introductory price. We're going to be able to hold that pricing through the end of the year, and then this shock will probably go up next year in price. It is a very expensive piece to build. It's labor intensive to assemble, and then labor intensive on our end to make all the tuning guides and make everything where when the customer gets it, they have everything they need. So it probably takes us a half hour to an hour on the back end just to give you all the data in a presentation where you can understand it and use it. So yeah, that's it. So it's $849 for the double, $949 for the four-way. These are cockpit adjustable, so they have a nice detent, but you can hook your normal cockpit cable right to them, and they'll adjust. So really easy to route your compression and rebound adjusting cables if you're running cables. What else about that? I'll think of something else. Anybody have any other questions? Fire away. Happy to help. The bodies are pretty robust, again, because it's a twin tube design, so you can take a ding to it and not necessarily hurt it. We do have our small body twin tube carbon cover and poly covers fit over these pretty well. So yeah, that is the new shock. And Eric Long's ready to move to quarter midgets. Light World tight all the way through the corner. Um, 2 7/8 stagger seems definitely on the lighter side, especially you're locked up on a world formula. I would be in the 3 1/8 to 3 1/4 range, and then yeah, moving the right rear out might be a good option too. So just email me your PitLogic setup. I know you're a PitLogic user. Email that to me. I'll take a look at it and see if there's anything else that jumps out. Kevin Crum, great point. Yes, the data for the XT fits into PitLogic. Kevin has made it to where you can note where your high-speed setting is on your shocks in PitLogic now. So since we knew this was coming, Kevin and Chance used it a lot of the summer. They wanted a really, really good way to keep it in PitLogic, so that is easy. Ronnie, twin tube adjustables are $449 and gas adjustables are $549. That is pricing, 2020 pricing. So we're currently kind of analyzing where we're going to be at for pricing for 2021. We always try to keep our pricing the same if at all possible, but there's usually a thing or two that the price does go up on. Just material costs go up, machine shop costs go up, etc. But that's where we're at right now. So yeah, twin tube $449, gas $549, and we go from there. Eric, glad you love PitLogic. I showed it to a few people at Little Rock this week, and they were like blown away. How do we know? How did we not know about this? I'm like, we're trying our best to spread the word, and yeah, so they were in love with it. Jeff, taking trade-ins on the XTs. Well, I don't think we have anybody who wants to trade an XT in yet because people are just buying them. But if you have something you want to trade in towards an XT, yes, that is available. Do you have an extra heavy version? This shock's actually pretty light. But if a hole got pushed through it with a rock, it wouldn't lose as much weight as a radiator would. So that's a good thing. That was an extreme bummer. I was at Little Rock. I had Dirt Vision on the TV on the trailer, and I was watching the USAC race on my phone in between races on the track, and I was at first concerned that Sunshine was going to blow up, and then when Brady drove by him, he was like, okay, I need to go, and he drove right back by him fairly easily. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. And I didn't initially think that the smoke was water. I just thought maybe the seal blew out of the oil filter and it was blowing a little bit of oil onto the header, but frustrating. But at least you had good speed and you ended the year really strong with your non-wing program. And we're looking forward to seeing you guys do some more wing racing. So, Rick, I need an assistant to keep up. PitLogic is a virtual assistant. Eric, there is a way. So all you have to do is upload your setup with a code and then share that code with your friend, and he can enter it into PitLogic and download it in. So I share my setups with people all the time at the track and try to give them all the information they need, and it's really easy to do. I can upload it in seconds, and then they can put it in their device in seconds. So Kevin just gave you the more detailed way to do it. I gave you the quick version. Anybody else have any questions? We have some exciting things coming for Monday Morning Quarterback. Tyler, who does all of our promo videos and new product release videos, he's been here getting some stuff on the XT. We're going to have a really rad XT launch video coming out. And I think I've got him convinced to operate multiple cameras and kind of run the switchboard, so to speak, for Monday Morning Quarterback. So I'm not looking at Facebook messages, trying to run OBS and have this generic crummy background. So that was always a goal of mine, to do it once we moved to our new shop and I had a permanent place to do Monday Morning Quarterback, but we're probably going to do it sooner rather than later. So I'm excited about that. You should see people's faces when they come in the shop and they walk in my office. They're like, what are you doing here? Because there's all these lights and stuff. I just like shove them in the corner of my office. So I usually have a funny answer, but I won't say it over the interwebs. But anybody else have any questions for us? Monday Morning Quarterback, episode 114. Stay tuned to our social channels. As I said, we're going to California this week to close on a deal we've been working on, another brand that we're bringing into the fold here at CSI, and a really, really cool brand that has a soft spot in my heart, and you guys are going to love some of the stuff we're going to do with that. Not totally shock related, but racing related. So stay tuned to our social media channels the next couple days. You'll get more info on that. And I hope to see you guys at a racetrack soon. Like I said, it's getting cold here, and I feel like winter's setting in, and I'm nervous for two reasons for that. That means race season's ending, number one. And number two, they're trying to get our buildings stood up, at our new facility before winter sets in, so they can do the interior build out and all that good stuff during winter. But you got to kind of have the walls up and keep it warm to do sheetrock and all the build out of the offices and all that. So two reasons I'm nervous for an early winter. So I hope it's just a extra cool fall and not a bad winter. We're looking to move into our new shop next spring, so that's exciting stuff. As we keep bringing more things in house, we're getting tighter and tighter here on space. But doesn't look like anybody else has any questions. Certainly appreciate you tuning in. Enjoy the football games tonight. Hope you have a fantastic week. Please like and share our Monday Morning Quarterback so everybody can see them. And we hope to see you guys again next Monday. Take care.